start with the circle. I'm going to show you guys something. I'm not going to take off my bling here. I don't want that to get in the way. But anyway, you want to lock your wrist. When you draw a circle, let your shoulder roll around like this, and you're going to get a much smoother circle. I'm going to put mine very lightly, as I said, right around that little belly button. Just like that. You can see I'm going around about 7 or 8 times because I'm like you. I cannot draw perfect circles. Even using that technique, it still comes out a little bit rough. Next up, we're going to put down some guidelines. And guidelines are a map that's going to help us see where our duck's bill and its eyes and its horns and everything goes, okay? I'm going to put one straight through the middle from top to bottom, just like that. Very, very nice and light. And we're going to put another one going across, but it's not going to go right through the middle like that one did. It's going to go closer to the bottom. I'd say about a quarter of the way up from the bottom. So get out those rulers and measure. Just kind of eyeball it. That'll work. Now we're going to draw in the top of his bill. And here's how we do it. Follow the circle right down to that crossing guideline that we just drew in. And I'm going to draw a little letter J right here. And a backwards one in the same spot on the flip side over here. Okay? Two little C curves. J curves, C curves. I'm going to go underneath this one, right around here, and I'm going to bring a little hill over to the other one, right underneath it. Just like that. Okay? Shaving off just a little bit at the bottom of my original circle as I do. Now I'm going to bring out the corners of his bill by turning these little C curves or J curves into S curves. Watch this one. Out and down. So now I have a big letter S there. And let's do that over here on the flip side as well. Go. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay, you know what? I'm going to, as we like to say here, lock this in. That just means we're going to darken in the lines that we like so far. So, you know, I've got some real sketchy lines there. I'm just going to kind of pick those stuff that looks best to me, like I did with that circle, and darken it in and make it a permanent part of my drawing. Old Devil Donald. Yes, indeed. That's one of the fun things about drawing Devil Donald is that, yeah, he actually did have a couple of moments in some of the old cartoons where he would get kind of devilish. There was one that was made during World War II. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was kind of to urge people at that time to pay their taxes. Very important during World War II. And Donald was kind of debating, and so of course his little angel, popped up on one shoulder going, "Pay your taxes, Donald," and the other one was the devil going, "Yeah, take it, yeah." You know, love that cartoon. I'm going to go ahead and give him a little width to his bill by adding a little hill just underneath that crossing guideline. I'll make it look like it's got some thickness to it. Now these are the corners of his smile. He is going to have a fiendish smile, and we're going to show that. So we're really kind of pushing up his cheeks by adding these little curves to the top of it, these little single line rainbows. And very lightly, I'm going to add some cheeks. He's pretty cheeky in this way. I'm going to put a little upside down letter U going around the corner of his smile. There, and there. So it touches the ends of his bill here, but then it doesn't go any further down than that crossing guideline. And it's safe to go ahead and lock that in, at least to that point. So let's go ahead and do that too. Donald's voice, oh my goodness. Was originally done by a very, very special man named Clarence Nash. Clarence was one of Walt Disney's favorite people, I think, because he used him so much in so many cartoons, and not just for Donald Duck, for other animal characters in different films. I believe he was the snarling Lucifer the cat in Cinderella, so he called on him for that kind of stuff quite a bit. But he was very famous. In fact, they called him Clarence Ducky Nash. He was so well known for being Donald. Okay, let's get his bill open here. So he's going to have this really wicked smile. What I like to do is I go up here to the outside of his cheek, and I'm just going to pull down 2 lines. They're coming in at a diagonal. And I'm using that center guideline to keep things nice and even, Steven. So as we can kind of see in relation to that those are pretty well balanced. And I'll give them a wee bit of a bottom there with a little curve. that in, and in a moment, we will follow the studied line. Now, this is a term that your art teacher might use in a serious art class, not like the one we're taking today. This is not so serious, this is for fun. But your art teacher may say, follow the studied line, and you're going, what? What he means, or she means, is that you need to look at this line that we just drew and draw it again just above, in this case, like that. And that's going to give him a kind of a lower lip. Right? There we go. Looks pretty good. Since his mouth is wide open, what do you think we're going to see in there? His tongue, correct. Let's go ahead and use that center guideline again by bringing down two curves. Don't go too far down with this. We don't want Donald Dragon. We want Devil Donald. We don't want to go back. Okay, that looks pretty good. Everybody doing good so far? Yeah. We're moving right along. I'm not going to lose the momentum, so let's keep it on here. Okay, we are going to give him that evil look in his eyes, those furrowed brows that you look at and you just go, oh, he's up to something nasty. Okay? So start right where these two lines cross each other, or two guidelines, and very lightly, I'm going to draw in a downward line like this. Now, let me get this one in here. See, now I got a big slice of pizza up on top of his head there. Actually, I divided it in half so I can share it with my friends. There we go. Just like that. Light and loose on that. Now, I'm going to go inside my circle to the top of that line on this side, and I'm going to bring down a curve that's going to kind of touch his cheek there. And when it gets to this crossing guideline here that we drew at the top, we're going to bring it down and around. So it touches the cheek just a wee bit, and then touches that line as it comes up there. We're going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to go inside my circle a little bit, bring it down to the cheek, and touch that bottom guideline here. There we go. All right, now I'm going to lock in those curves. I'm not going to do anything with the brows yet. There's a reason. So let's get those curves locked in. There we go. Disney was actually quite well known for creating some very, very spooky cartoons. Mr. Walt Disney, I think he liked horror movies. I think he liked to give people a good scare. And he did it in a very fun way, of course, but some of my favorites were, of course, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Now, Mr. Toad's not all that scary, but man, that Legend of Sleepy Hollow animated cartoon, you have Disney Plus. If you haven't seen that thing in a while, or never seen it, it is absolutely fantastic. Love that way that Disney produced that. I'm going to give him this real cleft right there in the center between that to show those furrowed brows are really pushing down that muscle. And I'm going to give this line, excuse me while I take a little drink here. That's this stuff. All right. I'm going to kind of give this a little bit of a very outstretched S curve here. Very outstretched S curve here. Like that, right? Let's do that over on this side too. I like the way that looks. Give it that little curve again. Just so much more. I'll bring it out just a little bit above the ends of the eyes there. Now his pupils are right down here. I'm going to draw in two ovals right here. And I'm kind of even overlapping my lines there on the brow as I sketch those in. But as I darken them in, I'm going to kind of keep it all contained. And I'm really going to make these nice and dark. I always want the eyes to be the standout feature. They tell us so much about what the character is thinking and feeling. There we go. One of the great Disney animators, Ollie Johnson, that was his motto. He'd say, what is the character thinking and why does he feel that way? He or she feel that way. That's what, that kind of kept his drawings vital because he always kept that in mind. He's got to convey the thought and the feeling. Okay, see how those brows are kind of coming up beyond the eyes a little bit? I'm going to wrap a little upside down letter J over this one. You can see it's a little longer on this, a little shorter here. On the outside, there we go. Let's do that over here too. These kind of like pop right out of our original circle just a wee bit. we go. Like that. Okay. He's cheeky, so I'm going to give him a little more cheek by putting just a little curve above each cheek. Just a little one there. And then joining these brow and the cheeks together like this. Like so. He looks nasty, doesn't he? Okay, I'm going to give him this, I call it the Disney do. We give so many of our, especially our rascally characters, we give them this little hairdo. I'm going to kind of take this little tufted up hair up right towards that center guideline and turn it into a shark fin. And then I'm going to put another shark fin going sidewise over here. And then a little baby shark coming down. We give this to Stitch too. See, so you kind of get my point. We give this little thing to some of the little uppity characters like Donald and Stitch. Ones that are up to mischief all the time. Okay, he ain't a devil without horns. What I want to do is to kind of keep things, I'm going to get my head back into light and loose mode here, very important. And I'll very, very lightly just put a line kind of right above that shark fin there. That's going to kind of keep the horns nice and even, Steven, as I draw them in. I'm going to start right above this brow and bring a curve up to that line like that. And then start above this brow and do the same thing over here on the flip side. Okay? So that's the inside of the horn. Now grabbing onto the end of it and keeping the tip there nice and sharp, I'm going to bring it down right underneath the brow, like that. I'm going to make this one a little bit further down. I want it to be a little bit heavier. There we go. Let's get that blocked in. So getting back to the spooky cartoons of Walt Disney, one of the best ones is Trick or Treat, it was called. And it starred Mr. D here, and Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and a little witch named Witch Hazel. And Huey, Dewey, and Louie are trick-or-treating, and Donald is actually doing all the tricking. And the boys are become his victims until this little witch shows up and says, okay, kids, I'll help you get back to this guy. And it's great. I'm pretty sure you can see Trick or Treat on Disney Plus. It is a genuine classic and perfect for Halloween time. It's all about Halloween time, in fact. All right, one last thing. We're going to give him the cape, that devilish collar. What I like to do is I'm going to start, let's see, if I was to go out to the side of his bill, like right to here, and right to here, okay? And then I'm going to bring a curve right up just above his cheek there, and then down like that. And then we're going to give it that kind of bat-wing look by bringing a curve down towards the side of his lower bill. That'll work. I'm going to go ahead and lock all this in. Of course, if you've ever seen a movie called Fantasia, it pretty much lines up with one of the spookiest things Mr. Disney ever produced. Night on Bald Mountain, in which we get to see the devil himself, Chernabog, rise spirits up out of the graveyard below. That is classic stuff if ever there was. I love that stuff. Of course, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey all got together for a cartoon long ago, which made them the original Ghostbusters. Sorry, Bill Murray. Somebody else had the idea first. And it was Donald, Mickey, and Goofy as Ghostbusters. And it's called Lonesome Ghosts. And I'm pretty sure you can see that on Disney Plus too. Great, great Halloween stuff for the whole family. Okay? You can't say that about everything. So it's nice to have stuff that you can sit down with the kids and have nice snacks and know that it's all going to be just good fun. So take those recommendations, okay? Trust me, you will thank me later. Well, there he is. My gosh, he's nasty looking. I'm going to go ahead and sign this right over here.